Hey guys, so in a prior video we talked about paint pens, specifically the shuttle art paint pens. Well, today we're going to take a deeper dive and talk about more paint pen stuff. So see you guys inside. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today, as I said, we are going to be taking a little bit of a deeper dive talking about paint pens and model building. As you guys can see, I've got some stuff sitting on the desk in regards to paint pens and model building, and there's so much things with paint pens that we can talk about with model building that there's just a large number of stuff out there that you can use that is made for this type of process, and also what you can do to just kind of do your own. So those are the kind of topics we're going to talk about today. If you're curious about the shuttle art set that you see here, go back and check out last week's video, last Tuesday, where we talked and unboxed this particular set and even did some painting with it, which is a really great set for the cost. But also, you guys can see here, I got some other paint pens on the table. I've got Gaahleri's metal paint pens. I've got the speed paint pens from Army Painter. I've got AK's Playmakers paint pens, and also a do-it-yourself option, which I'll explain more about this option later on in this video. Definitely is kind of something you may want to consider for your paint desk, depending on what kind of models you're doing. So before I really kind of start really talking about this stuff and paint pens, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We talk about all kinds of new stuff to help innovate and also build your painting repertoire. And this is just one item in that large category that you can use to paint a model, paint a figure kit, paint on canvas, do just about anything with paints. But for me, I use these in the model building. So make sure you're subscribed so you get further content updates, seeing me use these in actions on our live streams, and also just some innovative ideas of what you can do with some of this stuff. And when is the right time to use some of this stuff? That is a question that kind of crept up in a few replies I got from the last video from some of my friends that watched it of why. So definitely make sure you're subscribed. If you can give the video a thumbs up, it helps out the channel tremendously. But hey, you know, all that stuff, that's all the business end of this. Let's dive into the real thing about talking about paint pens. What's the right one? Where's the right one? Why do I use these? So let's dive into that question. All right, so as I said, we're going to dive into this. We're going to talk about some of these. And some of these I'm going to talk about are pretty straightforward. The shuttle art paint pens, these are pretty much base colors. And another company that's kind of in the same boat is the AK paint markers. This is a base flat paint. This is what you would normally base coat your models with. These are very much your normal kind of paint pen you would consider. Now, one thing I will say I do like about the AK paint pen is the bristle. So this tip is actually bristles. It's a paintbrush bristle. A lot of paint pens you'll find are more the cotton. Actually, I hate to do this, but Gaahleri is very much like that. So that is just kind of a cotton, hard paint tip pen. Where these are actually, this is actually a bristle. This is a paintbrush bristle, basically. So it kind of gives a really cool advantage to it. It acts like a paintbrush, where most of your other paint pens are a hard point. This gives you the same soft point like you would be bristling in. These are very similar. And also, I'll show you in the make it your own option, very similar. So this is what I would use as a base. Not really for my highlighting or anything like that. But I honestly, what do I use paint pens for? Let's backtrack. I use it for strong detail, sharp, and a lot of times to do my straight lines. So that's where I use a paint pen. And sometimes it's just there for covering repetitive action. Some of these Warhammer models have so much trim that the paint pen just saves me a ton of time. And that's where I really like the paint pen is doing trim work, edging, and that kind of stuff. Talking about edging, trim work. There's a great piece of armor here that just kind of fits into this. So, and with this, so this is Monument Hobbies Dark Silver with Gaahleri's Champagne Gold overlaid here. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit and some of the options, because you notice there's not a Monument Hobby paint pen on this table. Well, I'm going to explain how I get around that with this option here. So these are great for, I want a straight flat layer, or I'm doing trim work. So kind of keep that in mind. I like these. I'm a big fan of AK paint. It's really good paint, same as Vallejo, but they're more for base. They're not for creating contents or highlights, where speed paint. And speed paint is more your lay down, highlight, and just kind of fun stuff. But it's also got its limitations. And with that, so speed paint is very much one of those paints that is a paint that I have found over the years. One, I'm trying to get it primed here, get some paint on the bristles for us to play with so I can kind of show this. There we go. Now we got it going. Speed paint, it is highly recommended to paint on a white base coat, and it is it's a contrast, guys. It's watered down, it's a contrast paint, but it's going to flow nicely, and you got to find a good happy medium to work with. So going over other colors is a bit harder to do, but what's nice about the speed paint, once you find your rhythm, it settles in and it's going to give you a nice paint job, and it's going to give you good pronunciation of the details, which is what you want it to do. And the cool thing about paint pens is if you're traveling, this is basically a no mess solution of painting. So it allows you to do your primary coat, get your contrast, and move on with your painting fairly quickly. So speed paint pens can be really good. All these paint pens are really good, especially if you're on the go. So keep that in mind. It's going to give you a great color. That's the magic blue that I was playing with. When that settles in, the contour lines will be nice and dark, and it will have its nice shadow on top of the white. Now, I'll be honest, I prefer not to prime in white. I prefer to prime in black and build up off of that, but I'm going for more of a grimdark solution most of the time. So really kind of a good thing. And you guys can see too, I like doing the mechs more than I like doing the armor. And that's where one of my favorites comes in, the Gaahleri paint markers. It's their metallic series right now is all that they've put out. Really good price. You get all 10 of these. I think on the Black Friday sale, I think they're $16.99. They're already sold out. Really good colors. This is the same colors that you can get in the Kaleido line for your airbrush. So that is another perk, is these match the metallic kit from the Kaleido line, which wasn't a bad price here this last Black Friday sale either. But you've got all kinds of good colors. But the only problem is right now with their paint pen set, there's only the metallics. So keep that in mind, that they're only offering the metallics in a paint pen. But that also brings me to the final item that I'm going to talk about today that I really think you guys ought to consider if you're looking to do paint pens. And it's these. These are found on Amazon. A link is down in the description down below. But these are basically do-it-yourself paint pens. You can fill them, rinse them, toss them, do whatever, but it allows you to fill up the well. You got your own paint pen tip. And the thing that I always forget with these is they're reverse threaded. Then it is a pressure-based system. You push here, and it'll push paint down into the bristles. Now these act like a bristles and allow you to paint. And kind of the thing to keep in mind, there is also the wide brush, so you can do wide strokes. It's same push system, same loading system. And these are empty and completely reusable. And the set that I bought was like $16 for a bunch of these. And what's nice about it is, oh, I need to do speed paint. Hey, I just grab a bottle of speed paint. Hey, I need to do my favorite Monument Hobby Dark Silver. A lot of times with Monument Hobby, I'll thin it a little bit to put it into the paint pen. I don't do one for one. Usually I do 2 drops of paint to 1 drop thinner, and it works really good in the do-it-yourself paint pen. But what I like about this is, a lot of companies haven't made their own paint pens. This lets me take that paint and turn it into a paint pen and make it usable in my own environment. So These come in really handy. You know, check me out. I'll probably be using these on the stream here pretty soon. So definitely kind of go check these out. Link to these, all these items are in the description down below to give out and try on your own. And you can see that speed paint is drying into a beautiful blue, giving the highlights and doing what we want to see. So the AK paint pens are really, really good. I enjoy those for models. The Army Painter, again, keep that in mind. It's more of a contrast paint. So it's going to set differently, and don't forget that step of priming white. The metallic paint pens are great for doing trim work on a lot of model kits. That's where I use these, is that metallic trim on knights or machines or starships. It comes in really handy, and for a lot of the work, honestly, I just make my own paint pen. So, because this whole big set of these, you'll see down in Amazon, is only like $16. I can put whatever paint I want into it, using it. Because guys, I use a lot of the atomic metal, I use Pro Acrylic, and a lot of these lines don't offer me a paint pen. Well, here's the do-it-yourself solution. If you want more on the do-it-yourself solution, definitely leave a comment down below. So guys, hopefully you found some of this information useful. Links for all these are down below. Again, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're looking for our live streams where I will be using these products to do some Gundam builds and some other projects. So definitely kind of appreciate that, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.